Hey everybody, so today's quick tip, we're going to look at the steps that you would take to draw like a counterbore slot from start to finish. Two different methods, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, first step here is going to be to draw a 1x1 square. That will just give us some outside dimensions to start with. Now from here, we're going to draw some circles, so we're going to go to arc, okay, coordinate. We're going to type in the radius. The first one's going to be an 80 thou radius. Now there's it's an oblong slot or a slot with a counterbore. So what I'm going to do is adjust my center. Adjust our center here, and then we'll do this as a positive, and that will give us our first two arcs. Then we're going to drop our radius size down, and we'll repeat the process so we get them in both of their locations. Okay. So now we have our four arcs. The next thing we're going to do is add our tangent lines. So we're just going to do line tangent and select on these two radiuses here, and then these two radiuses here, and then we'll repeat the process for the inside shapes. Okay, at this point we have a lot of geometry on the screen. We need to come in and trim away the unwanted geometry, so we can come into utilities. And you might be tempted to use quick trim, which will get it done, but it's going to take more clicks to get rid of the geometry that we don't want. Okay, so we're going to undo the quick trim here, and we're going to look at a different method. The method we're going to use is called trim strings, and this allows us to click around in the order that we want the trimming to occur. So we'll start with this radius, we'll go to this tangent line, then to this radius, then to this tangent line, then to this radius. That's the first one. We'll right click and OK. Then we'll repeat the process for the inside shape. And this is one of the methods that you can use to create your wireframe. Okay, so I'm just going to throw this up on another layer, and then we'll blank that layer out. Now, the next thing that we're going to look at is a different method for creating the same wireframe. Okay, this time we're going to go to Create 2D. We're going to go to the shape library. We're going to come in here and select the slot option. The orientation we're going to set to center, and then we're going to input our information here. So if you look at the graphic above, it will tell you what each of these different values are used for. The first one here is going to be the length, so it's going to be 160 for that value there, and then for the height is going to be 260. Okay, so that gives us our first slot. We'll choose OK. The second one is going to be 120, and then this is going to be 220. Okay, and that will give us our second one. Now, either of these methods will work. You'll notice that when we went to this method, we're going to get the same geometry. It's just the steps that we took to get there are a little bit different. The other thing that you'll notice as well is that in the CAD history tree, if you use a shape library feature, it will be available in that tree, and then if you need to make adjustments to it, you'd be able to make adjustments to it without having to start over. So that's definitely an advantage of using the shape library. It does take doing a little math to figure out what the values are that you would input. Now, either method that you use for design, the next step would be to turn this into a solid. Now, it's not necessary to draw as a solid, but it is a step that will help you visualize the part better. Once we have our wireframe created, from here we can just do some simple extrusions. So we'll do an extrude curve for the first one. This would represent the thickness of our material. We'll say OK. Then we're going to do an extrude cut for the second one. We'll take this outside shape first, and let's say this is just going to go down 200, and then we'll say OK. And then the last one we'll select is the inside shape, and this is going to go all the way through, so we'll make it a 1/4 inch, and we'll say OK. All right, so now you can see that we were able to create our counterboard. Now, again, if you need to make adjustments to your depths, anytime you design in 3D, any of the 3D features, you can go back to the CAD history tree, come in and edit those values. Maybe this one was only 100 thou, and then we'll choose OK and cancel. All right, so you can see how that updates very quickly. Now, if you want to create a cutaway view, you could do that as well. You could come into Create 2D and Section View. You could pick the different section that you may want to view a cross section of the part with. That's one way to accomplish it. Another way that we can do this to get a cutaway view is we could use 3D and then extrude cut. We could select on one of these faces, input how much we want to cut away, and then that will also give you access to a cutaway view. Either of those methods would work.